Connolly's layoff. Meekins continuing her run. Connolly then tried the big switch. Didn't find Duncanson. Montero tried to bring under control. Gibbons, with all that experience, was able to outmuscle her opponent. Duncanson again. Little 1-2 with Meekins. Duncanson crossing into the area. Oh, Hooks was arriving at the back post, and Studman was able to do just enough to distract her and help get the ball back to her goalkeeper, Maya Diedrichsen. Duncanson again. Perth looking to build up a head of steam in the early stages of this match. Referee allows play to continue and then eventually called the free kick back. So Liana Cook on the free kick. It's whipped in towards the penalty spot. It took an awkward touch off a Red Star defender. Duncanson got the shot away, and Diedrichsen was guarding a near post. I think it was going wide of the mark anyway, but the goalkeeper wasn't to know that. And she got her body in the way of it, and Perth will get the evening's first corner. Duncanson's ball in. This time it's a deeper one. Getting the header in there was Cook, I think. And she had a free jump at that, did Liana Cook, and might be a little disappointed not to hit the target with that one in the end. Here's Wood. Bursting down the left-hand side. Papali is over there with her. Hooks. Tenacious player who's come across from Murdoch University Melville in this off-season. And she's at it again, fighting for possession of the ball. She nips it off Studman, who's back there chasing. And Studman's able to use that W-League experience of hers in the past to win that duel. Player who played with Perth Glory and Canberra United. As the offside flag goes up, and Red Star will get a little bit of relief. So, touched on Red Star winning at this ground last year. They were 2-0 down against Balcatta after 12 minutes, and then goals from Sean Billum and then Coyendone, Larissa Walsh and Carla Bennett helped them to turn it around for a 4-2 win after extra time. 3 of those players no longer with the club, of course. Larissa Walsh has departed to Calder United in Victoria. Sean Billum has retired and is now a part of the coaching staff at Red Star. And Carla Bennett, unfortunately, picked up an injury which is going to rule her out for the majority of the season, it seems. Coyendone is on the bench tonight, so a very different-looking Red Star side, although Coleman's looking to try and put them in the ascendancy here. Perth to get players back. And then the sliding challenge was on Montero, I think, over there on the far side. So in comes the free kick. Leota met it, and she just got under it. A little bit too much contact on that glance, and it sails harmlessly wide over Rebecca Bennett's bar. And just to finish on the night series as well, we are actually the 4th year of the competition, and we've had 3 different winners prior to this year's edition. Fremantle in 2020, Balcatta in 2021, and Red Star last year. So Perth will be certainly hoping that it's a pattern and that there'll be a fourth different winner of the competition. My apologies. RedStar will look to become the outright leader in terms of honours won as the long distance strike comes in from Reina Kagami, and Bennett was able to come across and make the save. Kagami, one of the new signings at RedStar to offset some of those losses in the off-season. One of two Japanese players who have joined Carlos Vegamena's side. Reina Kagami and also Chiori Ikeda. Kagami, a central defender who can play at the base of the midfield, and Ikeda, a winger. Ikeda was in the green boots there trying to get on the end of that pass from Montero. Perth were able to snuff it out once again. Coleman slid in. Duncanson slid in also and emerged with possession. Now Lincoln. Montero just caught Meekins off guard. However, Perth were able to get it back, and Godding slides, hooks down the right channel. She's not really got anybody to aim for in the middle at the moment, so just has to check her run. And then hooks went to ground, and Studman stood her ground and emerged with the ball. She looks forward for Leota, who's starting striker in this side. She was more known for her cameo appearances in season 2022, a player who would come off the bench and had a little bit of structure up front. Entrusted with leading the line is the former New Zealand international this year. Ikeda. Chance to run it. Papalia comes in board. Olivia Wood. Kagami tries a strike from distance, but Bennett can watch that one sail wide. Coleman. Little nudge through. Ball to the goalkeeper's got to be a good one because Montero was putting the pressure on, and RedStar forced the turnover. Chiori Ikeda got the strike off. Perth just about clear the danger. Coleman won the header though. Wood the turn and volley. Coleman then with a snapshot, and it hit Cook, and she's able to find her teammate Duncanson on this near side. Now the long searching ball for Connolly. But a communication needs to happen here in RedStar's rear guard, and they do just enough to deal with it, although it's going to come straight back as Lincoln looks left and sees Duncanson. Those two combining well in this early stage. Duncanson, Lincoln, poked through, Meekins, clearance from Sarah Carroll. Lincoln again. Meekins. 3 red shirts around her, and Coleman won the challenge, but Gibbons then nipped it off her. A little bit scrappy in the centre of the park at the moment. Both teams really trying to press and force errors from one another. Montero's attempted cross hits Van Hierk. Cook will then go to Bennett, and she'll send that one into touch. Both of these two sides undefeated in their respective pre-season campaigns. RedStar with a 3-0 win over NTC, a 10-0 win over Curtin, and then a 6-1 win over Balcatta. They then prevailed 2-1 over Fremantle City in the semi-final, with goals from Ikeda and Coleman getting into tonight's final. Fremantle City actually won the third place game a little bit earlier over NTC by 2-0. Perth, meanwhile, with a 5-0 win over Subiaco, a 3-0 win over Murdoch University Melville, and a 3-3 draw with Fremantle in their final game, having already progressed. And they then edged past NTC on penalties in the semi-final to get through to this one. Shouts for handball were heard by David Avison, and he duly noted. RedStar with another opportunity from a set piece, which Sarah Carroll stands over. Carroll holds up one hand. She'll send it in low and driven. And it's slammed away by Meekins, who was clearly going for territory with that one. So just past the 15-minute mark here at E&D Leaders Stadium. Perth Soccer Club 0, Perth RedStar 0. Neither goalkeeper yet to make a save of note. Renee Leota's early drive inside 30 seconds, the closest we've probably come to an opening goal, although Liana Cook did have a header inside the first 10 minutes, which went over the bar. Carroll once again into touch, playing in that central defensive position. Often seen on the right-hand side of attack last year for the champions. Formidable front line with Larissa Walsh. And at times Olivia Wood as well. But despite the losses I mentioned earlier, Carlos Vega-Mena very satisfied with his squad overall. The two Japanese imports aside, he's happy to use a couple of youngsters in his side throughout the year. Natalia Vega-Mena returns from Hyundai NTC. Katie Ritchie also comes across from Perth as well, another former NTC player. Perth, meanwhile, have brought in 4 players of real reputation in this competition. Ellie Lamont returns from Tasmania. Poppy Hooks, who we mentioned before, came across from Murdoch University, Melville. Monique Godding is in the centre of the park tonight for Perth, having come over from Balcatta, and also Gemma Crane is back after a year out of the game with injury. Crane and Lamont, incidentally, on the bench tonight for the Azzurri. Gibbons. Ball just skipped over the foot of Godding, but it reached Duncanson, who then tries the reverse pass into the channel. Giving chase was Hooks, who's been a real energizer bunny in this first 18 minutes of the game, putting herself about the pitch with real desire to win every 50-50. Hooks and Lamont, of course, two players who are part of that double winning side, back-to-back league winning side at Murdoch University Melville in 2020 and 2021. As Leota tries her luck from range, but once again, Bennett's able to watch that one over the crossbar. One of the top shot stoppers in the league, Rebecca Bennett, ex-Queen's Park goalkeeper. Winner of Perth's inaugural Best and Fairest in 2020, and she was rewarded for those performances with a short stint at Perth Glory as the backup goalkeeper in 2020, 2021. 12 clean sheets last year in the league for Bennett, and she's going to be important once again as part of that Perth rearguard. These, of course, the two best defensive teams from last season's competition. RedStar just the 9 conceded, Perth with only 14. As Akeda looks to make a yard. Trying to skip past there was Kagami, I think it is, over on the far side. Throw from Studman. Leota, little layoff. Ikeda driving into the box. She got the shot off. It was blocked. Leota then followed up, and the sliding challenge from Van Hurk was a really good one. With Leota setting herself to lash a left-footed shot towards goal. Red Star will now get their first corner of the night. It's a corner which Ikeda will go over to take. Wasn't happy with where the ball was placed, so reset it. And now the delivery comes in. It's a driven ball. Wood was trying to meet it at the near post. Hook's got there ahead of her. And in fact, the last touch was actually off a Red Star player, much to the surprise of the Perth team out there. Van Hurk under the pump from Leota. Back pass maybe a little short. Bennett was out to swat it away. Perth looking to try and play out at every possibility. Throw taken here, Leota. Just lost her footing as she was trying to reverse it for Ikeda. Clearance is only as far as Sarah Carroll. Studman's turn around the corner. Van Hurk stepped out. She'll clear upfield and into touch. Just in front of the halfway line. Studman will take the throw under the scoreboard here at the home of Florida Athena. Poppy Hooks ran into trouble. 3 red shirts converged upon her. Ikeda into Leota. Little ball into the feet of Montero. Cook was across from full back. That's what you want to see your fullback doing, coming in tight. Making sure that that structure remains sound. Van Hurk. Cook. Duncanson. Ella Lincoln, little turn away from Teixeira. Coleman was tracking her. Duncanson then won the 50-50 over Dunn. She'll then cross in, but Coleman, with that real work ethic, was getting back. Albeit her challenge does come at the expense of a corner. Duncanson's corner in deep again. Attacking it was Hooks. And Studman should be able to go and retrieve it. Could have potentially left it to roll out of play, but she opted for the clearance instead, and Perth get the throw. Leota. Montero's to her right. She looks a little shorter for Coleman. Now the pass comes to Montero. She invites Emily Dunn to come forward. Looked as though Duncanson just clipped her heels as she was tracking back. Red Star will get the free kick. Two real competitors there, Jamie Duncanson and Emily Dunn. Dunn, of course, part of the 250 club across Perth RedStar and, of course, Northern Redbacks previously. A real esteemed company in that list, alongside the likes of Carla Bennett and Nicola Williams as well, as Akeda's ball is stood up towards the penalty spots. Volley came in from Leota. Might break for Montero, who was just trying to swivel and hook that one goalward, but just took her eye off the ball slightly and wasn't able to trouble the goal of Rebecca Bennett. Cook with the throw. Lincoln with the layoff. Duncanson turning away from Dunn. One ball forward here for Van Yerk, who goes back to a goalkeeper again. Perth not afraid to use their number one. Gibbons with the layoff. Godding back to the goalkeeper again. Misplaced pass here. Found Montero, but her touch was a little heavy, and that allowed Cook to step in and make sure no further damage was done. Teixeira. Kagami. Studman up the line. Akeda giving chase. Papalia should be able to watch that one roll out of play, and does. Perhaps not such a surprise that this game has been a little cagey in the early stages. Very little for either goalkeeper to do. Perhaps both teams not wanting to show their full hand just yet. Also not the biggest surprise when you consider the head-to-head meetings between these sides last season. 2 draws and 3 single-goal wins for Red Star in the 5 meetings in League, Cup and Top 4 as well. Papalia's clearance goes into touch. Godding. Pass here into the feet of Lincoln. Duncanson. Captain Perth in their inaugural NPLW season back in 2020 to Jamie Duncanson. Lisa Van Herk, now the skipper, of course. Wood. Little clip through here for Leota, who had a chance of latching onto it, but once again Cook was across from full back. Some really good defending in these early stages. Liana Cook, she started out really as a winger who was a bit of a super sub when she first joined Perth back in 2021. Player who's also spent a little bit of time with the Glory as well. As have a lot of players in the NPLWA women's competition over the years. Papalia's switch will miss her teammate over on the far side. And that was Cook who was over on the other flank. And then a foul on Leota, and David Avison points to the penalty spot. So the challenge came in on Renee Leota, and the referee spotted that the contact was inside the penalty area, and that'll give Red Star a chance to hit the front half an hour into this NPL WA Women's Night Series final. So Carroll steps up, one-on-one with Bennett, and Bennett went the right way, but she couldn't keep it out, and Red Star keep rolling into 2023 as they look to continue their era of dominance in the NPL WA women's scene. It's Perth Soccer Club 0, Perth RedStar 1. So Perth 0, Perth RedStar 1. And a little bit of a soft concession there for Perth, who did so well in the early stages of this one. Duncanson looking to respond straight away, though. The cross shot sails wide of the post. And there was no takers at the back to try and put it in. So Diedrichson gets it restarted. Goes long upfield. She flicks on for Coleman. It's smashed back into Red Star's half by Van Yerk. And Diedrichson will pick up again. Player who was the backup goalkeeper to Shivani Battaglia for the majority of the campaign and then stepped in for the back end of the season. As Red Star went on to complete that phenomenal campaign. Diedrichson, a very experienced stopper. And keeping 3 clean sheets at the back end of last season, which more than showed that she was capable of deputising. In fact, Red Star had originally signed Zara Board to play in between the sticks at the beginning of this season, but I believe she's since moved on to the NPL in Victoria to play with South Melbourne. Duncanson's throw. Coleman once again in the right place at the right time, but her pass missed the mark. Duncanson, little step over. Tried to get away from Dunn, succeeded in doing so. Cross was aimed in, but it was deep once again. Hooks will go herring after that one, but the ball had a little bit too much pace on it and it'll roll out into touch. So touch over, 10 minutes to play in this first half here at E&D Leaders Stadium. Perth Soccer Club 0, Perth RedStar 1. Renee Leota's spot kicked the difference so far. Great to be with you tonight on the streamer.com.au platform and also on the Football West Facebook page too. Tommy Dolman with you on the call on the eve of what's set up to be another exciting year in women's football, not just in the league locally here, but of course with the Women's World Cup coming soon. Meanwhile, Wood got on the end of Leota's pass. She round the goalkeeper, but the assistant's flag went up. Dragan Kovaceski flagged for the offside. And Perth perhaps a little fortunate that they weren't 2-0 behind after Wood was able to successfully roll that one into the unguarded net. Here's Poppy Hooks. Back for Van Herk, who's captaining her second NPL WA women's team. She was the inaugural skipper at Curtin back in 2020. Montero. Godding. Coleman once again winning those big challenges in the middle of the park for RedStar. Very much leading that engine room now that Sean Billam and Carla Bennett aren't in the starting 11. Dave Avison said the challenge was clean and Perth will play on. Bennett will spin wide for Cook, who has to clear upfield. Coleman with a win in the air. The ball escapes Kagami. And then Meekins goes all the way back to Cook. Who wasn't able to keep that one in play from Godding's pass. Godding, of course, one of the most consistent performers in the NPL WA women's competition over the past few seasons. 3 years at Grindleford Reserve with Balcatta Etna. Dunn's throw. Woods layoff. Leosa following up, and then she hooks towards the goal of Bennett, but it just drifts wide of the post once again. Papalia's pass into Meekins. Long ball forward should be swept up by RedStar at the back. And Deirdrickson will look long, although she had to hurry in the end because Connolly was trying to put her under the pump. Coleman left it behind. Connolly lays right. Meekins tries her luck from distance, and Deirdrickson, oh, she lost it for a moment, but she was able to deal with it. Not in the most conventional of manners, but it did the job in the end. Maybe took a slight deflection on its way through or just swerved in the air, but it's definitely Meekins' territory, that 25-yard area of the pitch. She's never afraid to take the strike on from that range. In fact, she's actually got quite a nice catalogue of those spectacular strikes in her portfolio. Arguably the first time that Deirdrickson has had any sort of work to do. RedStar have remained resolute. Perth with a free kick in a good position here, though. Every player for RedStar back and defending in the penalty area, with the exception of Montero on the edge of the area and the two in the wall. Delivery comes in. I think it was Lincoln who took the set piece. The last touch was either off a Perth player or there was no touch, and Red Star will get a relieving goal kick. 5 minutes to play then before the halftime whistle is blown. Perth Soccer Club 0, Perth Red Star 1. Montero spins away from Cook. Cross comes in. It's helped on by Wood. A nice bring down from Ikeda. And then the strike comes in from Kagami. And the two Japanese players link up for Red Star. And it's Reina Kagami's first goal in Red Star colours. And it puts the champions up by 2-0 in the shadows of half-time. So Perth Soccer Club 0, Perth Red Star 2. It was a lovely flick from Ikeda on the edge of the area, and bursting forward from that midfield position was Kagami. And she was able to squeeze the strike past Rebecca Bennett. And it means that Red Star are in a real strong position here in the shadows of half-time. And work here to do for Pete Rakic's team, that's for sure. I've got the likes of Gemma Crane and Ellie Lamont on the bench. They may well need them in the second 45. Ikeda once again putting the pressure on. Olivia Wood stole it and lashed towards goal. And once again, Perth a little ponderous at the back and indecisive with their passing, and Red Star were nearly able to capitalise once more. Cook. Pass forward here for Hooks, who was making the long bursting run forward, but Diedrichsen was off her line to claim. And perhaps may well be a long way back for Perth. As mentioned before, they weren't able to get a win over Red Star last season in their 5 meetings. In fact, if you go further back to 2020, when Red Star were also in the red back stage. We'll come back to that in a second as Lincoln tries a mazy dribble. She runs into Dunn, though, and weight of numbers wins out for Red Star. Red Star / Redbacks with 7 wins in the 10 meetings. Since the NPL WA Women's era began in both league and top 4. Red Star, of course, also winning the State Cup last year by 2-1 with Jay Coleman getting a late winner. And Perth with just the 1 victory, and that was in the preliminary final back in 2021 at Dorrien Gardens when Perth beat the then Northern Redbacks by 2-1 after extra time. And that was actually the last time this team tasted defeat. Perth Red Star have never been beaten since the merger between Northern Redbacks and ECU Joondalup. Well, at least not beaten in the women's side of things anyway. So it would be an almighty comeback if the Azzurri are to launch one in this second period. We're going to have a minute of added time, as indicated by Adrian Lichty, to complete the first half. Meekins. Ball forward is cleared away by Carroll. Leosa giving chase. Papalia will send that one back to the goalkeeper. Time for Perth to perhaps create one final chance in this first half. Van Herk's pass, missed the feed of Meekins. Coleman stepped in. Leota on the turn. Little threaded ball through for Olivia Wood, who strikes, and Bennett had to make the save. It was on target. Strike was powerful and pretty much straight at her. But that's good positioning from Perth's number one. And it arguably keeps her team in this contest. And that'll be the last action of the first 45 minutes here at E&D Leader Stadium. So the NPL WA Women's Night Series final currently sits at Perth Soccer Club 0, Perth RedStar 2. Goals in the second half of the first half from Perth RedStar, the champions, scored by Renee Leota from the penalty spot, and then a lovely backheel from Kiori Akeda sent through Reina Kagami, the two Japanese imports linking up and doubling Perth RedStar's lead. Perth Soccer Club started the game brightly, but the best opportunity they had in the first 45 minutes was when Abby Meekins forced Maya Diedrichsen into an awkward block, but largely there's work for Pete Rakic's team to do if they are to arrest a 2-goal deficit. Half-time here at E&D Leader Stadium. Perth Soccer Club 0, Perth RedStar 2. Welcome back to E&D Leaders Stadium for the second half of this NPL WA Women's Night Series final between Perth Soccer Club and Perth RedStar. RedStar, 2 goals to the good after 45 minutes. Renee Leota's Sarah Carroll's spot kick. And then the lead was doubled by Reina Kagami around about 5 minutes before the interval. One change at half-time you may have heard over the PA was the introduction of Gemma Crane. She'll come on for Sophia Papalia, which will likely mean a reshuffle in this Perth team. We'll try and identify that one shortly as RedStar come forward early on here. Van Herk stepped out. Connolly finds the feed of Meekins, who will look back for Cook. Godding. Meekins. Looks as though Perth are starting with the back three. Perhaps Gibbons and Godding will just drop back a little bit into the fence. Meanwhile, the strike comes in early from Duncanson over on the left-hand side, but Diedrichsen is able to watch that one wide. And just great to see Gemma Crane back out on the football pitch. She returns to the club in 2023. She had that wonderful season in 2021, a former gold medal winner, of course, in 2019, sharing the award with Sean Billam and with Laura Waltman. She unfortunately had a couple of bad injuries to contend with while she was playing with Perth Glory. She serious injuries to her leg and to her arm, and you might be able to see that she's still playing with what looks to be a sleeve or a bandage of some sort on her left arm as Lincoln comes in, looks to strike left-footed. Strike didn't take a deflection and it went wide of Diedrichsen's post. I did notice during half-time that Ellie Lamont was doing some warm-ups as well. Wouldn't be too surprising to see her introduced either. So the back three looks as though it's going to be Hooks, Van Herk and Cook. Gibbons and Meekins in midfield. And Crane is slotted in on the right-hand side. Pass into the feet of Godding, tough one to control. She was able to help it on in search of Gibbons, who won the 50-50 from Coleman. She sends the pass out wide for Duncanson. She's got 3 teammates ahead of her. One of them's Lincoln. The other who's Connolly, who's received the pass. Van Herk spins on a dime, sends it wide to Duncanson. Connolly. Perth trying to build some revs early in this second period. Lincoln. Lovely turn. Meekins with the forward run. Still going. Ella Lincoln, and then the last-ditch tackle was a perfectly timed one from Dunn to ensure that Meekins' bursting run from midfield didn't yield at the minimum a strike on target. Corner ball comes in. Studman with the header away. Van Herk and Montero in a race to get there first. It will come back again for Duncanson, who just allowed the ball to skip over a foot and harmlessly into touch. Just to give you an idea of how difficult it is to score against this RedStar side, only Fremantle City and Subiaco scored multiple goals against them in any game in the league. Also ended the season, the final game, the semi-final and the top 4 final as well, with clean sheets aplenty. Crane brings it down, breezes past Studman, has got him there for support. Turning away was Lincoln, ball sent for Connolly. The layoff for Meekins, who drills one towards goal, and it's straight down the throat of Diedrichsen, who can dive on it and make the save. It's been the long-distance efforts of Abby Meekins, which has been the most likely source of a Perth response. Coleman. All across here for Sarah Carroll. Touch nearly invited Lincoln to come in and apply some pressure. Akeda. Lifted away by Meekins. Lincoln gives chase. Carroll hooks sideways. Studman keeps it alive. Studman's ball up the line was an inaccurate one on this occasion. Hooks will take the throw. Looks as though she's back to her position out wide as a fullback or on the flank in season 2023. Played in that fullback position with Murdoch University Melville in 20 and 21 before playing in the centre of the park. Oh, deflected effort here, and Leota got the strike off, and inadvertently it was a good save by Bennett, who got low to her left, and the clearance hit a Perth player, bounced into Leota's path, and she tried the quick effort. So Akeda's corner stood up into that 6-yard area dangerously. Carroll will volley. It's lashed away by Cook. Duncanson will nod forward. Stepping across there was Meekins. Now Gibbons. Turnover again. Leota's touch. Wood was advancing forward to the ball. Leota was then battling for possession on the ground, and Dave Avison pointed for a Perth free kick, which the Azuri tried to take quickly. Wood races after this one, but Hooks will beat her to the ball. Although the last touch was off a Red Star player, so Hooks was merely shielding that one over the line. Game just in a little bit of a holding pattern at the moment. Red Star look as though they've got things under control. 2 goals to the good. The onus on Perth to try and make something happen. Still got those options on the bench, of course. Just in case you are late for the second half, Gemma Crane came on at half-time for Sophia Papalia. Studman's throw into the feet of Leota. Crane working hard on the defensive end. She manages to pinch the ball off Leota's toes, and then she ran into trouble. Ball will stay as Perth's, though. Van Herk. Leota. Little reverse pass for Olivia Wood, who tries to feed Montero to her right. Ball was cleared by Perth. Shouts for handball. And Perth will get the free kick. So, chance for them to maybe take it quickly while Red Star were retreating. But they opt to hold it up, and Van Herk will go over to take now. Magnificent season in 2022, did Melissa Van Herk. Now Duncanson. Looking for the feed of Lincoln, who's stood up by Carroll. Meekins, little clip through, shouts for handball, play continues. Lincoln into the penalty area, beaten away by Diedrichsen. Well, that's the best save that Red Star's goalkeeper has had to make tonight. Connolly helps the ball back for Hawks, who's got Crane to her right. Loves to run with the ball, Gemma Crane. Pass was searching for the runs of Duncanson and Godding. Little 1-2 between Connolly and Crane, who looks left for the pass to Lincoln, who lashes wide of Diedrichsen's near post. Looks as though Perth have just changed that front 3 configuration. Duncanson coming over to the right, Lincoln to the left, and Crane playing through the middle now. Interesting to see Judy Connolly playing in a more attacking role tonight. She was playing in the centre of defence last season for Perth. First 2 years in the NPL women's competition at NTC, she was in that number 10 position. So very much back to where she came from in that respect. As Duncanson puts in the first time ball, Carroll with the hook up in the air. And the foul was against Duncanson. Red Star will get a chance to maybe just take the sting out of this one a little. A little burst from Perth, which resulted in the Ella Lincoln strike. Six goals last season in her 20 appearances. Bayswater Junior. Jay Coleman, player who's finished in the top 3 of the gold medal count in each of the past 2 seasons, the former Fulham ladies player. Clearance is away by Gibbons. Red Star will stay on the front foot as we approach the hour mark of this NPL WA Women's Night Series final. Perth Soccer Club 0, Perth Red Star 2. Goals from Sarah Carroll and from Reina Kagami. Lincoln. Duncanson stayed on side, I think. She's able to run on to the ball here. Blue shirts arriving in the penalty area. The cross into the near post. Meekins with a little touch. It's scrambled away by Studman, only as far as Hooks, who drills one from distance, and it's wide of Didrikson's post. Just needed a firmer touch there, did Meekins at the near post. The run was perfectly timed. All she needed to do was just nudge that one past the goalkeeper, and it would have halved the deficit. Pass from Duncanson, cut out by Kagami. Ball into the channel here for Connolly. Carroll's got the size and strength advantage there. 12 goals in 17 games for Sarah Carroll last season. Also a former Glory A-League women's player. Sent forward by Teixeira. Cook intercepts. Tried the mazy run. Tackle from behind was a good one, but Perth were able to win it back. Pass found Duncanson over on the far side of the pitch. In-swinging cross comes in, and it's a little too close to the goalkeeper. And just that final pass, lacking on a consistent basis for Perth. When they have got it right, just that final touch hasn't quite been there. Ellie Lamont looks as though she's been prepared to come on for the final 28 minutes or so. Just getting a few words from Jess Byrne down there. Header away from Van Hurk. Up the line from Meekins, but no takers on the chase. Didrikson with a first-time clearance. Maybe had a little bit more time than she realised. Although Gibbons' pass was a little short for Duncanson, and RedStar can come the other way through Montero, who finds the feed, or at least she was aiming for the feed of Leota. Hooks and Bennett nearly getting the muddle. Goalkeeper's got a bit of work to do, and she was able to dive on the ball and get her team out of a dicey situation. Akeda, little reverse pass. Olivia Wood driving into the penalty area. The cross was looking for Leota. It was a little too far in front of Red Stars number 14, and Perth should be able to tidy up. The pass was sloppy out of defence though. Akeda, Leota, straight at Bennett again, who was guarding the near post. Fantastic to see so many people out in force supporting women's game here tonight in the West. Always gets a decent crowd out, does the night series final, the cup final and the like. Meanwhile, Perth do make that aforementioned change. Ellie Lamont comes on for Ella Lincoln, so that'll be a like-for-like replacement. Akeda. Nicked by Crane. Kagami. Sideways pass from Wood, missed the mark. Connolly. Wood Tenacious, trying to win the ball back for her team. Meekins poked back for Van Herk. Leota not giving up the ghost, and it gets sent all the way back to Bennett, although the pass was a little astray again. Montero. Bodies hit the floor. Van Herk tried to emerge, and then the strike from Kagami was unable to test the goalkeeper. Looks as though Carlos Vegamena is preparing a change for the defending champions. It'll be their first of the night. We're going to see Bronwyn Studman make way. Katie Ritchie came onto the pitch there. If didn't quite hear that over the PA. So Studman off, Ritchie on. Looks as though Dunn has come over to this left-hand side and Montero has gone back. It's the right back position. Ritchie, central midfield player, who was actually at Perth Soccer Club last season, formerly of the NTC program. Leota, strong in the corner, trying to hold the ball up. Last touch was off her, though. Clearance from Cook. Van Herk's clearance up the line. Crane's layoff. Godding's pass forward, intercepted by Kagami. So midway through the second half, Perth Soccer Club 0, Perth RedStar 2. Still no change to the halftime score. The goals from Carroll and Kagami remain the difference. Perth trying to mount a response, though, heading into the final quarter of this game, as Lamont finds Godding. Sideways pass here will reach Duncanson. Cross hit Montero. She'll get a second go of it. Montero slid in and conceded the corner. So in comes Duncanson's corner. Oh, Diedrichsen was backpedaling. It hit the bar and then inadvertently hit Van Herk and went wide of the mark. So a swerving delivery from Duncanson. Goalkeeper was a little unsure about where that one was going. In the end, it hit the crossbar, I think, and Van Herk wasn't expecting the rebound to come her way, and it essentially just hit her and went wide of the goal. Perth certainly having a couple more closer calls in this half, although Red Star still maintaining that degree of control. Connolly's layoff. Godding's pass. Good football, Perth. Coming across to snuff that one out was Montero, and then a lovely piece of footwork from Kagami to get away from her opponent. Coleman then slides in Olivia Wood, who's in the penalty area and getting the strike away, and off the bar it cannons. So both teams hitting woodwork within the space of 60 seconds. Wood ever so close to finding a third and what surely would have been a ceiling goal. Here's Van Hurk. Goes long across field for Duncanson. Godding, first time pass. Turned around the corner by Gibbons. Crane. Ball forward for Lamont. Godding again. Perth patient with their approach. Here's Crane. A bit of space here for Meekins, who plays into the feet of Connolly. She rolls her opponent, goes to ground. That looks like a penalty, and it is a penalty. And Perth will get the opportunity to half the deficit from the penalty spot. And the yellow card was brandished, I think, to Andrea Teixeira. And Perth will get their opportunity here at the same end that Sarah Carroll gave Red Star the lead. It's Abby Meekins who steps up and halves the deficit for Perth. And that might just give them a lifeline as they try to complete a 2-goal turnaround here at END Leader Stadium in the Women's Night Series final. It's Perth Soccer Club 1, Perth RedStar 2. So a low, accomplished finished from Perth Soccer Club's number 8. And Perth have a fighting chance, although Red Star come the other way. Into the area the cross goes. Leota nearly missed it. Akeda might reach it. Bennett came out with a big save. And then Coleman, goalkeeper again, came up big. A double save from Bennett. And Red Star nearly regained their 2-goal cushion immediately. Brilliant save from Bennett, the initial one from Akeda, and then she scrambled back across her goal line to deny Coleman on the follow-up. Game is perfectly poised. Going into the final 17 minutes. Carroll, little dummy from Leota. Akeda tries to reach it. Sliding challenge from Hooks was a clean one. In comes the throw. Hooks once again with the determined defending. Coleman, Crane, trying to run the ball out of defence. Look at her go. She turns on the afterburners and Perth are set away on the counter-attack. Meekins. Crane again. Perth lose possession and now Olivia Wood. Tried to pay the pass forward for Ritchie, but Ritchie was coming back from an offside position. Van Hurk with a challenge. The volley comes in from long range by Coleman. And Bennett watches wide of the post. Kagami trying her luck from distance as well. Got an eye for gold as the holding midfielder. We saw a score already in the first half. At the moment, it's the game's decisive goal. Certainly not afraid to try her luck. Of course, reminder that if Perth can claw back an equaliser in this final quarter of an hour, we will go straight to penalties if there is a draw at the 90-minute mark. No extra time for the pre-season final. As it stands, though, Red Star's rollicking run is going to continue. Akeda. Van Herk once again got in front of her opposite marker. A little clip over the top was looking for Akeda. Leota, slide rule pass. Wood was offside, according to the assistant. Much to the surprise of a few of the Red Star supporters. Here's Bennett again. This time looks for Meekins by feet. Wide here for Poppy Hooks. Godding. Connolly's layoff. Godding now for Crane. Red Star really trying to apply a little bit of pressure, but Perth are good enough to get out of a tight space so far. And then the pass up the line will reach Lamont. Crane continues the run ahead of her. Lung-busting run from Crane. First time cross. Duncanson's waiting at the back post and lashing towards goal. Could have gone anywhere on the follow-up. Duncanson still fights hard. The clearance only as far as Judy Connolly. And it's straight down the throat of Diedrichson again. Perth winding up from long range again. Lamont inadvertently ricocheted off her, nearly fell for Connolly. Carroll's clearance. Of course, on the Carroll note, Kim Carroll as well, not in the team that finished last season. She's, of course, in Perth Glory A-League women's side still. Olivia Wood trying to get to the byline. She's got Cook for company. She still manages to get the crossover, though, and it was a teasing delivery. Just needed somebody to attack that a little harder in the area. Carroll's cushioned pass. Hooks tidies up. She's got Akeda for company. Van Herk looking for an option. Has one in hooks, but she's under the pump immediately from Akeda. Kagami steps in to help. Now Leota. Kagami's layoff. Van Herk sliding challenge. Duncanson all the way back for Van Herk, who's essentially the only central defender that the Azuri are playing at the moment as they search for that extra attacking option further afield. Lamont giving chase from Godding's pass. Carroll followed her all the way, and then her clearance hit Crane and went over the sideline. And we're going to see another change here for Perth RedStar. Jaina Ridley will be the player to come on, and Renee Leota will come off by the looks of it. And confirmation of that substitution, so a like-for-like replacement there. Ridley will go and lead the line where Leota vacates. The other change we saw was a Perth one. It was Emma McMurdo who came on in place of Monique Godding. So again, a like-for-like swap with some fresh legs in midfield. Ball forward here will give something for Lamont to chase after. Lamont tried the strike at goal shout. Other teammates arriving, though, in support. Might have been better off trying to pick out one of them. Perth were able to win the ball back, though. McMurdo's first touch finds Gemma Crane. Crane has now got to track back. Emily Dunn wasn't a willing chaser on that occasion. As Perth try to motor their way into the final 10 minutes of this one. 81.5 minutes on the clock. Perth Soccer Club 1, Perth RedStar 2. Great to have your company tonight on the streamer.com.au platform, as well as the Football West Facebook page. Tommy Dolman with you on the call. Meekins with a penalty to answer Carroll and Kagami's first half goals. Last-ditch challenge there from Montero was a beauty to ensure Lamont couldn't progress. She's just starting to get herself into the game here, Ellie Lamont. Of course, returning this season after a year in the NPL Tasmania with Launceston United. ...21 goals in her in her 34 matches in her first 2 seasons in the NPLWA Women's Competition. She actually won the club's Best and Fairest award last year at Launceston United as well, with 17 goals. Meanwhile, Crane goes in strongly on Emily Dunn, and she's quick to offer a helping hand, and David Avison pulls out the yellow card to book the Perth playmaker. Emily Dunn quickly back to her feet. As Sarah Carroll sends the ball forward, it'll run all the way through to Bennett. Touch under 7 minutes for the Azzurri to pull level at 2-2, or for Red Star to see this one out and extend their lead. Connolly picks up the pass, outfoxes her defender and pokes in for 2-2. And the Azzurri have come back from 2 goals down to tie it up. And we've got a grandstand finish here at E&D Leaders Stadium, thanks to Judy Connolly's first Perth goal. Red Star 2, Perth Soccer Club 2.
Goal scorer for Perth Soccer Club, Judy Connolly. It's 2-2.
So we've got a finish on our hands here. Perth Soccer Club 2, Perth Red Star 2. Goals from Meekins and Connolly answering Carroll and Kagami's first half strikes. And reminder that if this does stay level after 90 minutes, we will go straight to a penalty shootout. No extra time for the pre-season competition. Gibbons. Pass from Duncanson is sprayed wide to McMurdo. Suddenly it's Perth who have a little bit of pep in their step. Van Herk Ball found its way to Meekins. McMurdo spearing ball into this right-hand channel. Crane. Cross comes in. It's over the head of Montero. Duncanson is waiting. She'll send the ball into McMurdo, who's touched slightly behind her. Still here for Perth, though. Gemma Crane drilled across the box. Palmed away by Diedrichsen, and Ridley was back defending. And then the strike came in from Cook. And it would have been a blinding effort had it dropped under Diedrichsen's bar, but it sailed over the crossbar. Football's a funny game, isn't it? Momentum can just shift all of a sudden. Connolly lost the 50-50 with Kagami. Sliding pass forward from Coleman, was trying to find Akeda, but she was offside, and play will continue. Poppy hooks. Gemma Crane. That's the better of Olivia Wood with a lovely piece of footwork. Ball over the top, Miss McMurdo. And the clearance from Carroll. Hit. An innocent photographer on the sideline. I think that's Rob Lizzie from Perth. Professional as always is Rob, straight back into it. Connolly tried the flick. In fact, it was Gibbons' cross. Whistled past Montero and Duncanson. And out of play it goes on the far side. So 2 minutes left, plus any added time. Perth Soccer Club 2, Perth RedStar 2. NPL WA Women's Competition starting next weekend. And this is a fixture that's just nicely whetting the appetite. No advantage there for Perth, and free kick will go their way. Van Heurt tried to steal a few yards. Referee was wise to it. Montero up the line. Ikeda. Kagami. Wood. Back for Ikeda. Perth pick it off. Duncanson. Little 1-2 with Connolly. It was cut out, and then the back pass was an errant one from Montero. Diedrichsen has to clear. It was met by Ritchie, but her cushion pass was inaccurate. And that'll take us to 90 minutes on the clock. Adrian Lichty holds up 3 minutes of additional time. A winner, or a goal now rather, would surely be the winner. Switch of the play for Hooks. Gibbons. Lamont looked offside and was, even though she volleys into the net. Diedrichson's clearance. Hit Gibbons. Lifted forward by Kagami. Akeda over on the far side. Poked clear by Cook. Richie hit the deck. Play continued. Duncanson left it behind. Coleman's touch a little heavy. Spearing ball through the middle. Lamont is in hot pursuit. Diedrichson sweeping. She's got to get there and does. And she sends it long and forward, and Ridley is now chasing. But that'll run all the way through to Bennett at the other end. She'll go long now. McMurdo brought it down. Gibbons lofted forward. Wood for Richie. Gibbons again. Her pass hits Richie. Coleman. Slide rule pass. Hooks was reading it. Bennett slams upfield. Lamont trying to outmuscle her marker. Just got the ball tangled under her feet slightly as she tried to maraud forward. And then Van Heerk's header will go into touch, and Red Star will now get the chance to potentially launch one more attack. And we're actually going to see another change here. Gibbons will come off. And it's going to be Faye Phillips who enters the fray. Like for like swap there, perhaps a substitution with an eye on penalties. Meekins. Long ball upfield. Lamont went early. Red Star remained disciplined. Just a couple of instances then when she's not quite looked across the line there, early Lamont. And that'll be the last action of the game. So penalties will decide the 2023 NPL WA Women's Night Series final.
Ladies and gentlemen, the game's finished 2-2, and we now go to a penalty shootout.
It's the first time in the NPL WA era that the night series has gone to a shootout. Both of these teams have been involved in shootouts over the course of the last few seasons. Perth, of course, were in one last season in the State Cup semi-final, where they got past Balcatta-Etna. Red Star, of course, won the 2020 Top 4 Cup final against Fremantle City on penalties after a goalless draw after 90 minutes. So both teams will gather in their huddles to organise who the takers will be for the shootout. We'll take a quick break here on streamer.com.au and on the Football West Facebook page, and we'll be back shortly to bring you the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
Welcome back to E&D Leaders Stadium for the penalty shootout of this NPL WA Women's Night Series final. Perth Soccer Club and Perth RedStar locked at 2-2 after 90 minutes, and with no extra time we go straight to penalties to decide the winner of this season's competition. We had a shootout in the NPL Men's and the NPL Men's State League last weekend. And now the first taker will be Abby Meekins of Perth, who steps up, and Diedrichsen saves the first spot kick of the night of the shootout. Meekins went the same way as she did in regulation time, but Diedrichsen guessed right. And it's advantage Red Star in the shootout at this very early stage. Sarah Carroll, who also scored during the 90 minutes, will step up, wearing the orange boots and placing the ball down. Carroll steps up and goes low into the bottom corner, and it's advantage Red Star in the shootout. They lead by a 1-0 after one kick taken by each team. So the next taker for Perth is another of their goal scorers. Judy Connolly, the player who made it 2-2. She'll step up and coolly slot past the goalkeeper. And Perth tie up the shootout, but if Red Star are able to convert their next penalty, they will maintain their lead. And it'll be Andrea Teixeira who's next up to the spot. Winner of the Sandra Bretnell medal for the player of the State League final last year, the 2-1 win over Perth. And she'll step up to the mark to try and restore Red Star's advantage in this shootout. It's Teixeira who strides up, and Bennett got a hand to it, but she couldn't keep it out. And it wasn't the cleanest of strikes, but it doesn't matter how they go in. Red Star will take it, and they're 2-1 up after 2 kicks each. Faye Phillips is next. Player who only came on late in the 90 minutes. It's Phillips who drills low with conviction beyond the goalkeeper, and Perth pull level again. But once again, Red Star have the chance to answer through Olivia Wood. All about nerves at this stage of the night. Olivia Wood takes, and Bennett guessed right, but couldn't get there. An assured finish from Red Star's number 10, and they lead the shootout 3-2. Two kicks left. Duncanson is next for Perth. Jamie Duncanson's take, low and hard and past the goalkeeper again. Gave her absolutely no chance. And once again, Perth are able to respond. But Red Star still hold the initiative in the shootout. So long as Chiori Akeda can convert with her kick. New signing in the off-season for Red Star. Lovely back heel in regulation time for Red Star's second goal. Akeda steps up, it's high and above Bennett, who dived the right way once again. She's gone the right way for most of these kicks in the shootout, but the placement has been too good so far. And Red Star lead 4-3. And it's now the goalkeeper, Bennett, who must score to keep Perth alive here. It's Bennett who takes, and she sends her opposite number the wrong way to keep her team alive. However, with the penalty shootout locked at 4 apiece, it's on Reina Kagami, scorer of the second goal. If she scores, Red Star will win. Silence is deafening. Kagami steps up, Bennett saves, and the shootout stays alive. She was bound to get one eventually, Bennett. She'd gone the right way for most of the shootout, and she was able to come up trumps. And we're all square once again, 4 each in the penalty shootout, and now we're at sudden death. Ellie Lamonts for Perth to wrestle back the advantage for the Azzurri. Lamont's take, accurate to Diedrichson's left. She looked as though she was stepping the right way. She didn't commit fully, and that maybe cost her the chance to make the save. And now, how the roles can swing quickly. Emily Dunn. The shoe is on the other foot, and Red Star are now the ones who must score to stay alive. Dunn's take, high, and just about perfect. Those ones are hard to stop for any goalkeeper when they're lashed in that hard. And the exhibition of spot kicks continues. 5-5 now in the shootout, after 6 takers each team. Liana Cook's next. Her kick, low, into the bottom right corner. And it's advantage Perth again. And now the Red Star substitute, Jaina Ridley, once again must score for Red Star to remain in with a shout. Pete Rakic can't watch. Down in the Perth dugout, he's facing our commentary position. It's Ridley's kick, and she sends Bennett the wrong way again. And the shootout continues at E&D Leaders Stadium. 6-6 now. This is some high quality action in the shootout that we've seen so far. Poppy hooks. She'll go low into the bottom left corner. Another perfectly placed penalty for Perth. And now it's Jay Coleman, the skipper, to stride up. The 8th taker for Red Star. 7-6 to Perth in the shootout. Jay Coleman steps up and sends it wide of the post. and the Azzurri conquer last season's Invincibles. Perth Soccer Club come from the clouds from 2-0 down to win the 2023 NPL WA Women's Night Series final and end the Red Star run, which stretches back to 2021 in all competitions. Jay Coleman sending the decisive kick wide of the post after a high-caliber penalty shootout, which ended 7-6. An exciting night of women's football here in the NPL WA Night Series final. In terms of a quick recap of events, Red Star led this one by 2-0. Sarah Carroll's first half penalty was added to when Ikeda's flick was met by Kagami, who scored her first in Red Star colours. And it looked as though Red Star were in control for much of the game, but Perth came roaring back with a real show of fight and character. Meekins pulled one back from the penalty spot, and then Judy Connolly poked past Diedrichson into the back of the net. Into penalties we went, and the shootout went back and forth. Red Star had a chance to win it, but they missed their opportunity, and we went into sudden death, and inevitably it was Poppy Hooks who scored her kick and Jay Coleman who missed hers, and that means Perth prevails 7-6 on penalties after a 2-2 draw after the 90 minutes. On behalf of Goran behind the camera, thanks for listening to us on streamer.com.au tonight and on the Football West Facebook page. My name's Tommy Dolman. Look forward to bringing you the NPL WA men's and women's competitions throughout 2022 as the players gather in the huddles post-game. They're joined by teammates off the bench and the coaching staff to celebrate. And just look at the Azzurri below us, jumping for joy in the huddle. It's the first time they've defeated Red Star since the preliminary final of 2021. Red Star, though, with their 100% record in this pre-season competition, will no doubt want to hit back hard, though, and defend their crown when it comes around to it in the league. So the board is placed. The cup is perched on the table, ready to go. And we just further await the opportunity to throw down to the host of the post-match presentation. Pete Rakic giving Liana Cook a high five, then Emma McMurdo, and then Jamie Duncanson, who put in a power of work down that left-hand side tonight. All the fans gathering down by the presentation area to no doubt get a photo and perhaps a memory that will last them, if not at least through the season, but further beyond. Rebecca Bennett's the hero of the shootout. Comes over to see someone in the crowd. And don't underestimate just how important this win could be, albeit on penalties, for Perth's belief and confidence coming into the season as they try to withstand another burst from the champions Perth Red Star and potentially bridge a 17-point gap from last season. So both teams are gathered in their huddles once again. Thank you for listening and viewing us tonight wherever you may be watching around Australia and beyond. We'll cross down to Abid Imam with a trophy presentation of the 2023 NPL WA Women's Night Series. Perth Soccer Club, your champions of the Night Series in 2023, their first piece of silverware in the NPL WA Women's era. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name's been Tommy Dolman, down to a bead with the presentations.
A very warm welcome to you. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hand together to the players for a fantastic spectacle today. It was a match that had everything, all the way down to the wire, and perfectly whets the appetite for the season to come. So congratulations. To get us started for the awards presentation, please welcome Football West Director Ivy Chen, who will present the medals to match officials and players. If we can please welcome our match officials, the referee, assistant referees and fourth official, if you can come forward, receive a small token from us. If we can now please welcome Tracy Wheeler, who will present the Tracy Wheeler Medal to the player of the match.
Thank you to both of the teams for such a high quality and entertaining match. And the player of the match is Maya Diedrichsen from Perth RedStar.
If we can ask the players from Perth RedStar, the runners-up, to please come forward and receive your medals. You may start to come forward. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Perth RedStar. To our winners, Perth Soccer Club. We can ask the players to step forward and you can start to receive your medals.
about a better instead of getting on the internet and checking in the hit get up. Fresh out, fresh up, walking. A little bit of humble, a little bit of cautious. Some of the free like rocket Cosby's for the game, but no, y'all can't copy yet. Bad, moonwalking, this here is our party. My posse's been on Broadway, and we did it always. Slow music, I shed my skin and put my bones into everything I record to it. And yeah, I'm on that stage light, going to shine on down. Got that Bob Barker suit game and click open my style. Money, stay on my craft.
May the coach and the captain of Perth Soccer Club please come forward to receive your winner's trophy. Here's the big moment. Let's give it up for Perth Soccer Club.
And I mean at the beat like you give a little speed to a big white shark on shark beat. When I go up, gone, deuces goodbye. I got a world to see. My girl, she wanna see Rome. See some make you a believer now. I never ever did it for a throne. And validation comes from giving it back to the people now. Sing a song and it goes like, raise those hands, this is our party. We came here to live life like nobody was watching. I got my city right behind me. If I fall, they got me. Look from that failure, big humility, and then we keep marching ourselves. This is a moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. This is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us.
It's a massive year of football. We've got the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup coming right here to Perth, Boorloo. Just wanted to reiterate, there's still opportunities to become a volunteer. 2 more weeks, and then we'll be closing off the program. So it's a wonderful opportunity to get up close, behind the scenes for the biggest sporting event in the world. You get a fantastic Adidas uniform. We're going to have a great team to help deliver this amazing World Cup. And also tickets will be going on sale from the 11th of April. So FIFA.com/volunteers and tickets, and that's how you can get involved. Thank you. Well done to the teams, and have a very safe trip. We'll see you on the field soon. Keep smiling, keep scoring.